Welcome to the HR Insider, the podcast where we decode the evolving world of human capital, leadership, and talent strategy. I'm your host, Harshal. Today's episode explores a powerful shift that's reshaping India's tech workforce, GCCs versus IT services. As global capability centers continue to expand their footprints and influence, we are seeing a noticeable migration of tech talent away from traditional IT services firms. But is this a natural evolution, or are we witnessing a deeper divide in how India's tech talent economy is structured? To help us unpack this, I'm honored to be joined by Ms. Roli Singh, Head of HR at Voya India. Roli is an HR leader with over 2 decades of experience and a career that spans across leadership roles at Swissray, Genpact, and Answer. She has been at the forefront of designing and executing talent strategies for global organizations, bringing together deep domain expertise and operational excellence, along with people first philosophy. Roli, welcome to the HR Insider podcast. It's absolutely a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you, Harshal, and thanks for having me. I'm absolutely excited and looking forward to today's session.
The pleasure is all ours, Roli. As I was going through your professional journey, it's evident that you have wore so many different hats. You have played so many different kind of roles across the organization. So let me start by asking, are you observing trend of movement of talent from traditional IT services to GCCs? And from your perspective, what are the prime drivers behind the shift?
Absolutely. So, Harshal, I think it's catching the eye today. Everybody since GCCs are in the spotlight. There's been a very aggressive growth in especially in India and APAC regions for GCCs. It's coming under the spotlight, but it used to happen even I would say 10, 15 years ago. At that point, we would say that when you move from a services organization, then you've gone to a client organization.
Yes.
And today it's humongous because the number of GCCs are more, and so the movement is noticeable. And I think a couple of reasons why this movement happens. It's largely about because GCCs have a very focus on innovation. They're part of global organizations, and they really are looking at enhancing their capability, adding value to the end customer, and how their employees can own it and drive that excellence. And I think that is very exciting for a lot of employees on the other side, where you will do a part of it, you wouldn't own full end of the spectrum of activities, right? So I think that's one of the key things. The other reason I would say, which I really believe in, is also having worked both in IT services and GCCs, is that culture, the cultural alignment. The cultures of GCCs are very different. They are very, you look at any of them, the parent organizations are very employee centric. They are very focused on empathy and collaboration. And I think that is a game changer in many different ways for employees. Also, the industry direction, it also signals that we are moving into a new age. When you talk about it, there is a evolution happening, but primarily I think this is a reason which is pulling talent from a lot of talent, visible talent, moving from services to GCCs.
You touched upon meaningful work. You touched upon the collaboration part, the cultural part, and actually being getting associated with the kind of work happening in GCCs compared to what the IT services companies in India are doing, right? I have a controversial view on that, but let me take your perspective as well. It's often said that GCs are aggressively attracting top talent by lucrative offers, by giving them unreasonable salary hikes, right? Which a services company is not able to match up to, because services companies do have a profitability and the margin pressure at the end of the day, right? But GCC, since they're building the teams, the capabilities for more of their global driven projects, their pockets are much more deeper, right? So is it true that they are actually able to attract talent by lucrative offers and prominent roles? And do you feel that this approach is sustainable, or it could be distorting the talent market as a whole?
Right. So one, I don't think they're distorting, or and I think it's a myth that when we say that all GCCs are paying very heavily and they're attracting and they are pulling people in dozens and dime. No, that's not true, right? GCCs do pay the talents rightly as compared to the market where they've pegged themselves. but it's hinging on the fact of sustainable productivity, right? So how will they perform post coming in? So they're extremely picky as well. It's not that everybody will get it. It's the kind of roles, and especially when you're setting up teams from a GCC perspective, IT services employees do have certain strengths, right? And that helps them. So they are picky. They will, maybe when they are setting up, they'll take few roles which are there, but then there'll always be a focus of training talent, upskilling people internally, right? There's a huge focus on cross skilling and upskilling within GCCs as well. Also, another fact that all GCCs are not great paymasters. They may be at a median, but everybody is not paying insane salaries. It's a perception which has been done. They pay fairly, right? And they are more nimble, so it's easier to, for the, if they really like the candidate, they have a better negotiation power. The retention strategy, when people in GCCs we hire, it's also more about cultural alignment. Does the person have that? Will he be able to fit into our culture and take it forward, right? So it's not it's just, you pay we will pay the right compensation for a talent which fits in into a multiple level. Also, the kind of work that GCCs do, it's very innovation focused. It has a deep functional expertise. So will you be able to bring that onto the talent as well, right? And like I said, the whole industry is shifting, and so are we. And they've also been immense learnings. They've been GCCs who've paid huge, immense salaries to people. They've shut down also.
Yeah.
So we are learning from each other. We are trying to drive that balance within that. We have a very strong ecosystem of looking at the cost arbitrage, and it's not. It may seem like the GCCs are kind of splurging, but that's not true.
One point in the conversation you brought about is there's a perception and it's a myth, right? Why you think that perception exists, and what could be the factors that people perceive that, if I go for a GCC, I'm gonna be paid more, and then if I work for an IT services company, my potential might not be fully matched. So what could have led to that perception building among the talent workforce today from your experience? Just curious to hear that.
So see, there is a difference from perspective that most IT companies, I would say, they are huge.
Yeah.
Big brands, when you talk about, they are huge in size. You're talking about thousands and lakhs of employees. And GCCs, even the big ones, wouldn't be more than 10,000, 20,000. Maybe some exceptions in the banking sector, financial services sector, you'll have a few exceptions, but largely it's not that. And so when you're managing volume, you obviously can't pay everybody, right? You can't really splurge. The business is based on a certain model, right? So there is a certain pyramid structures which are in there, and hence you cannot afford to pay anything. They need discipline, they need processes to sustain. And whereas GCCs, like I said, they are nimble, they are setting up shop. And, while setting up, if you need a certain skill and talent is critical for them, they will really value and pay for what it is. Largely, I would say IT services are learning grounds. People spend huge amount of times, they gain insane knowledges. And after a point, you know that your career may grow at a certain pace and a certain compensation. If you're ambitious, I don't think there's anything wrong for you to look out. It could be a startup, it could be a GCC. End of the day, it's a candidate's choice, I would say.
I think very fair point on the IT services being a learning ground, the volume-based hiring versus what GCC does, a very focused hiring, and not in terms of numbers, but in terms of the value, what the talent brings in. And I think that's how the cost versus value equilibrium works in GCCs as compared to IT services. So maybe now let me shift my focus more towards the IT services companies, right? If you look at the India talent ecosystem, right? Even in today tech workforce, IT services companies employ more than 5 million plus people, whereas GCCs probably by end of 2025 is going to have around 2 plus people, right? But if you still look at IT services, still remains the backbone for the country, right? Especially the tech talent, the fresh graduates coming out, right? Considering all this ecosystem, the economic circumstances, the way our economy is structured, the way the IT services contribute, what do you think? Are IT services firms adapting their talent strategies advocaately, or are they still entrenched in the volume-driven models? Whereas GCs are focusing a lot more on skill depth and innovation. So how can IT services company win this war of talent when everybody is looking for the best talent and everybody wants to get the work done as of today?
I think that shift is already happening, if you ask me. And it may not be the biggest headline today for us to say we look at general market trends, but if you look at market deeply, I think that trend is already happening. You know, a lot of IT services I have seen in my experience interacting with them, being on either side today, is that they are paying their top talent pretty well. They have also leveraged their benefits, because they need some pull factor. So compensation may not be high, but they're giving good benefits, right? And so I think that is something which they are doing. You'll also see last few months, if you look at LinkedIn or you look at leading journals, you'll see that most of the big IT services company, if they didn't have it, they've already named a GCC leader in services setup, right? And that largely is talking about the changing landscape on how they will do business and how they will adapt, right? Some of those things will continue to leverage, but I think internally they need to focus a little more on DEI. GCCs focus a lot more on diversity, or you may talk about purpose and inclusion. There are more programs, they are more personalized, there's a lot more human touch. And while I know it's a little difficult for them to do that, looking at their sheer scale, personalized, persona based initiatives, a little more focus on culture, I would see the trends shifting in that, in these areas in the times to come.
Honestly, when I scroll down my LinkedIn in last 30 to 40 days, the number of GCC head appointments which has been made public across IT services company, be it a large player, be it a mid-size segment player, I think that's been on the rise. And predominantly the focus has lot been how they're gonna cater to the GCC segment of customers, because that's gonna be one of the growing business opportunities even for the IT services companies, which in turn could create a lot more employment and maybe a higher paying jobs as well for the talent in India. So yeah, I think that's a relevant point on how the shift is happening. Now, if I look upon, let's talk about some critics, right? Critics argue that GCCs operate as captive islands and don't contribute significantly to the broader India's tech ecosystem, whereas the IT services companies, they are the soul around which the entire technology workforce and the tech identity of India has been created at a global platform, right? So what's your viewpoint on that? Is that changing? Is that true? Or we are seeing a transformation on that?
Well, I feel that we can't paint all GCCs with the same brush, right? And when I look at the tenured GCCs in the country, they have also been interacting with academia and the larger ecosystems. There have been initiatives which were rolled out 10 years ago. The work is happening, right? But you can't expect that from a new setup GCC. That's not their priority. They are definitely internally focused. They have a, like I said, value-driven approach. You're looking at your parent organizations, you're looking at your, delighting your customers, and you have your internal perspectives. At the same time, I would say that GCCs have done a great job of attracting the next-gen talent. If you look at the digital campaigns and the work that these GCCs do, there is a lot of excitement. Since they are also very skill-based, they are contributing by really building those core skills and contributing to the larger ecosystem through that. There is a substantial work which is happening. But is it happening everywhere? No, because everybody is in different leg of their journeys, right? So I can't say that it's absolutely true what you're saying. It's a part of a journey system. The tenured players have been doing it. The other ones will catch up once they are ready for it, I would say. But overall, contributing to the ecosystem also happens through, like I said, through your digital marketing strategy, your brand, your culture, your skill enhancement campaigns and programs, which the GCCs initiate as well.
You brought about a lot of relevant points, right? There's a lot of marketing happening, a lot of digital campaigns running around. And then we also spoke about the perception around GCCs, right? And in today's ecosystem, or in general, how the world operates, it's what you see is what you buy, right? So do you believe that GCC genuinely offer better growth and learning opportunities? Or is this more of a perception and a branding from their side, right? What potential trade-off should talent be aware of? Because when imagine a fresh graduate coming from out of a college, having a dream of starting their first job in a corporate ecosystem. So they have a GCC, they have an IT services companies. Back in our days, our parents used to always talk about Infosys of the world, the Wipros of the world, the TechMs of the world. It used to be pride matter of pride. When our father used to call their relative and say, my son or my daughter has got into an Infosys or a Wipro, right? So the things have changed a lot from where we were maybe a decade back to where we are now, right? It's a lot more about the branding. It's a lot more about the employee value proposition. It's a lot more about communicating your employee proposition to your target audience, right? But at the end, the question remains that, is the marketing what we see is the actual real picture, or the real picture is different than what's been shown? So how would you take that from a talent perspective, from a candidate perspective? And then it would be great if you can give a perspective to both, maybe a lateral individual who has a work experience in the industry, or and even from a fresh graduate looking to start their journey in the tech ecosystem.
I think as an HR professional, we all live this every day. So what I see is that the young, if I talk about candidates starting their careers, the Gen Zs and others, they're very well informed and they're very smart about what they are getting onto. And if you really ask me, they may not really care about what is between a GCC and an IT services. It's more about the exposure, the money. I think for them, I think that's a constant where you still need to tell them that you need to put in certain number of years and build your skills and move on from there. For us as professionals, how do we kind of ensure they get the employee value proposition and they get what it is? So the value to them, articulating that becomes extremely essential. Brand still plays an important part of it, and like you said, I think to a large extent that's still true. Most people who join even GCCs, if I especially talk about the younger folks, or when you get onto a marriageable age, people should know which company you're working from. So Infosys or a TCS or a Genpact may have a bigger perspective than the other GCCs, and and that's why brand becomes important, right? Because all of these, if I talk about GCCs, they're big organizations. Most of them are Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 organizations, but they may not be a big name in our region. So there's a process to it. And today, I would say in the last 5-8 years, a lot has changed. People are going and building that brand, and the brands are evolving, around the employee value proposition, around what's in it for the candidates, and you're targeting different pools of candidates. And I would say that it is, having worked across, it's not just a story. It is reality, and as a professional, I'm extremely passionate about you're bringing it life and you really are living it on a day-to-day basis. So as leaders, we need to believe in that. And across GCCs, I've seen professionals who are extremely proud about it, be it business, be it HR, global organizations, the global parent organizations, extremely proud of their brand and what we offer. That's always core to our thing. So from a lateral joinees, I think candidates, it's a lot more easier, because you've had some exposure, what works, what doesn't work. It becomes slightly easy. But for the candidates, for the new joinees especially, they may today research on your name, even if you're not a well-known brand in the country, and they may still come to you because of what is in it for them. It could be benefits, it could be the learning, it could be compensation. It's a combination of all of that together, which holds true.
And then, you spoke about Gen Zs, right? I think they are the smartest generation we have now. Zen Alpha on the way, so let's wait and watch what they bring on the table. But I definitely believe Gen Zs are very different to the previous generations, what we have seen at work, right? And now we are seeing a transition happening in the workforce, that a lot of baby boomers are going to be transitioning out, and the millennials and Gen Z are going to take over a lot of leadership roles in the ecosystem, right? As you said, Gen Z does a lot of research, a lot of background study on what kind of organization to opt, what kind of careers they want to be, right? Coming from a GCCs and IT services perspective, where we talk a lot about the employer branding, employee value proposition perspective, what should be those 2-3 pointers which they should definitely communicate in their employee value proposition to these Gen Zs, which you feel would get them better used to what kind of work these companies are doing and what's in store both this group of companies has to offer to them? So if these companies have to work on their employee branding, what would be those 2-3 points they should definitely communicate and take it to the larger audience?
Well, I think the companies are smart enough, they know what it is, but I'll tell you from my experience in terms of the difference what I find in those two talent pools. And I think largely that's what organizations are practicing, and they'll have their own nuances which come from their history and what they have done and the impact they've had on end customers and clients, and that kinds of make them proud. So from a services perspective, I remember, early on, I've had CEOs whom we really look up to even today say that, this is a place to learn and grow and have that impact. If you're looking for compensation, we are not the right place. I've had in town halls some CEOs of services companies say that, and we respect them for that. They've been very clear on what it is, what's in it for them. And in terms of the knowledge, in terms of maybe managing large teams, multiple clients, having a variety of work, opportunity to go on site and be in your base location. I think those were some of the core benefits which services offers, right? So for GCCs, I would say that their EVP, or attracting candidates, the core attributes would be more about their culture, collaboration, the value driven work, and the purpose. The purpose is extremely strong, right? And purpose is very industry specific, organization specific, and which drives, instills a lot of pride in all employees and encourages and motivates them to go above and beyond. So I think those would be the two differentiators there.
Oh, absolutely. I think very beautifully put, Rolly. I think for IT services companies, it's all about diverse exposure to work. Don't come to us from a composition perspective, but from a learning perspective. And for the GCs, it's more about the purpose, the mission, why they exist, and what's the problem you're trying to solve. I think both the group of companies have a very powerful tone and the communication message, what they can take to the talent today, and have a meaningful conversation dialogue accordingly. I truly admire that kind of insights. And my final question to you, with all what is happening around the IT services, the GCC's companies, 5 years down the line, if you have to look at what's from your experience with the current interactions you have with your stakeholders, how do you see if next 5 years is going to be? Are we going to still be talking about GCCs versus IT services companies? Or are we going to have a third group of companies emerging? Or it's going to be IT services and GCs coming together and solving something together? What do you feel is going to happen, or how next 5 years is going to brought about the change in the tech ecosystem in India?
I think, it'll stabilize, and GCCs will also settle. Collaboration is absolutely essential, and I already see the seeds of it moving. Like largely earlier, the IT services companies would work with the parent organizations of these GCCs, and now they are already, I already see some work starting on collaboration with the GCCs. So it will continue to thrive, and I think there'll be some more changes which possibly it's too early to really talk about, but the whole ecosystem will continue. You will be forced to reinvent and continue adding value to our customers and client. Either ways, I think both the groups are trying just to do that.
I really enjoyed our conversation today. Some great perspective, insights, examples on what's happening, and a very clear pros and cons of both set of groups, right? Be it a services company or GCCs, you brought about beautifully in our conversation today. I think I want to end by thanking you, Rolly, for being part of the podcast today and bringing such a depth to a conversation and bringing a very nice argument, a balanced argument towards the evolving dynamics between GCCs and IT services in India's talent ecosystem today. Thank you so much for being part of the episode. Truly means a lot having you on the podcast today.
No, and absolutely, it was totally a pleasure, and I enjoyed our conversations as well, Harshal. And I think I've been in GCCs long enough, but I also have been part of the services ecosystem. So it's like both are very close to my heart.
It's our pleasure. To all our viewers, if you found this discussion enlightening, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share this episode within your network. Stay tuned for more conversations with the HR leaders navigating the complexities of today's workforce. Thanks for listening. Until next time, this is your host Harshal signing off. Have a good day.